when I was in school, in the UK, I come from a place called London. And in London, I come from an area which is called Fulham, Chelsea. You know Chelsea, the team? My house is 10 minutes walk from Chelsea Stadium. That's where I come from. But when you hear this, you think it's very nice. He's in the UK, he's from Chelsea. No, I'll tell you what happened to me growing up. I went to a school, I was in a school, secondary school. A teacher one day brought all the Muslim kids in that school. In my year, he sat them down in a room. And then he said something I will never ever forget for the rest of my life. And I hope that somebody can learn from my story. He said, how many of your mothers, there was 17 to 20 kids there, all 15 years old, 15. He said, how many of your mothers have a degree? How many Muslim kids do you think put their hand up and said, my mother? How many? None. He said, how many of your fathers have a degree? How many people put their hand up and said, my father? None. He said, how many of your uncles have a degree? None. How many of your aunties? None. Grandfather, grandmother. He went through the whole list. And all of the kids there were Muslim. And none of our parents had a degree. You know what he said? He said, and that is the reason why you guys will never succeed in life. Because your father doesn't have a degree. Because your mother doesn't have a degree. You will never be successful. A week after that, we all had to sit an exam. I think in Kenya it's called KCP. In the UK it's called GCSEs. So we all sat the exam. Each person sits maybe 10 exams. So if there's 17 of us, between us there's 170 subjects. Each person is 10. 17 people, 170 subjects. How many people do you think there got an A? None. Nobody got a B. We left and I looked at my friends and I said, I can't even blame him. Because I want to say, if only you passed, we will look good today. My parents have been destroyed. If you passed, I will look good. If you passed, I would have been good. After that, for the next 5 years, I did a different subject in college. But every time I came to not even do the exam, to go to the class and sit in the class, the teacher is white, Asian, black, whatever it is. I knew one thing. I knew 100% in my head that I was never going to succeed in life. I knew that I was going to be a failure regardless. Why? Because the teacher said to me, you are a failure. You will forever you'll be a failure. And everybody else. Now let me tell you something. I'll tell you something. Wallahi, and this is a very personal story. I did different courses, I dropped out, I failed. Many more exams after that I failed. I left school without a single grade. At least some of you guys, when you get a B or C or D, you're happy. Me, I was getting letters like F, G, X, U. In my life, I didn't know you can get X for a grade. Wallahi, I was the first one. I thought, X, why? And imagine, remember this, it was religious studies, RE, and I was the best in the class. I knew I was the best. But I wasn't guided correctly, and I came out. The teacher said, if you'd done one thing correct, you would have got a B. Just one thing. But I wasn't guided. Why? Because the teachers didn't believe in me. Now how did it change? I'll tell you how it changed. Years down the line, Allah provided me with a son when I went to university. When I was in uni, I had a son by the name Abdullah. Abdullah was born and I was in university. I got to university. How I got to university? Don't ask me. Yes? So I got to uni. And then I remember going to school, my son was born, and I looked at him, I'll go to university and I'll come back. And then when he came to the exam, or thinking I'm a failure, I knew, wallahi, I tell you something, even at university, I knew I was going to fail. I knew 100%, because I failed high school, college, and I'm at uni, I'm going to fail. You know what happened? My life changed from there. I looked at my son, wallahi, I remember this. And then I said to myself, I will do whatever it takes in this world just to get a degree, me personally. I will do whatever it takes to get a degree, not because I wanted the best job, not because I wanted to get out of poverty, no. Not because I wanted to travel the world, no. Wallahi, for one reason. I wanted to get a degree so no human being on the face of the earth, not UK, in the world, can look at my son and say to him, you will be a failure because your father was a failure. I had to break this pain. I had to break it. It was down to me. I knew that it wasn't going to be inherited. So my advice to you is this. It doesn't matter where you sleep, where you live, what school you go to, the area you are, it does not define you. Change will only come from within you. I know it hurts. You don't have to hide it. Wallahi, I know it hurts you when you're here and you step out and you see the other kids. I know, because I was there. I know. But I'll tell you something. In order to succeed, something has to change within your head. Not your dress code, not the money you're getting. Something within your head has to say, enough is enough. And alhamdulillah, Allah has given me the opportunity to travel the world, to give my story, and to educate and to empower the youth. Wallahi, because of what I've been through, I have so much love for you guys. I've never even met you. Hamza called me and I'm in Wajir. It's chaotic. There's people, a lady who's sick, crying, a woman urinating themselves because of pain. A father's there, and Hamza called me and said to me, I've got kids in Kibera. Please, can you come and advise them? It's not something I have to think about. Hamza knows I will never say no to him. And I heard young kids in Kibera, I said I will be there 110%. And in here, in that class, there were 17 kids in my class. 17 boys. Only one, by the permission and mercy of Allah, has traveled to help the other kids. I know something. I don't know who it is. But wallahi, and inshallah, there's somebody in this room that's going to change somebody's life. I don't know who it is. It's down to you to choose who it is. Like my brother said, he said something very powerful. He said, a degree doesn't mean success in life. A degree doesn't mean, my degree is in human rights. I don't work for an NGO. I don't work for UN. I don't work in corporate world. I'm here with you guys to finish off with this, to make matters even more beautiful for you guys. I finished my degree, alhamdulillah, and guess what happened? I went to the Middle East to work. So I started a master's. You know, master's in the UK is 1 year. 1 year to do master's. I started it. After 1 year, it was hard. I couldn't do it. The following year, I was getting extension. One day, I came to my teacher. His name is Mike Foster, old American guy, a white guy. I came to him and I said, Mike, I can't do this. I honestly cannot do the masters. I am thankful for everything you've done for me, the help you've given me. Mike, I gave it to him. You know what Mike said to me? He didn't know anything about my story and my life. Wallahi, I remember him. He took me, he said, you want to drop out? I said, yes. He took me to his wife, who's a professor in my course. He said, let's go. He took me to his wife. His wife was sitting there and he said, Pauline, did you hear what Jamal wants to do? I said, I can't do this. I am happy you guys have helped me. I am done. I can't do the masters. You know what he said to me? I don't know where he came from, who told him this. He said, Jamal, don't worry about the certificate, but just remember one thing for me. He said, think about your son. He said, think about your child. Think about your family. Now I will tell you this. Masters takes 1 year to do. Do you know how long it took me to complete the masters? 7 years. 7 years. Every time I want to give up, the teacher wouldn't let me. I know people that after 2 years, they're not allowed to come back to the course. 7 years it took me to do a course, that's 1 year. So whenever you feel like, I can't do this, it does not define who you are. And this is my last statement. This is my last statement with you guys. It's not that you don't have what it takes to succeed, but it's going to take everything that you have. I'm going to say that again. It's not that you don't have what it takes to succeed, but wallahi, it's going to take everything that you have and more. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم.